In this lesson, we'll talk about the three security terms that are so often used interchangeably, but they shouldn't. It's risks, threats, and vulnerabilities. So let's see what each actually means. Risk is a potential for loss, damage, or destruction of assets or data caused by a cyber threat. But what is a threat then? A threat is a process that magnifies the likelihood of a negative event, such as an exploit of a vulnerability. That brings us to the definition of vulnerability. And a vulnerability is a weakness in your infrastructure, networks, or applications that potentially exposes you to threats. Let's look at an example of something not related to IT to better understand the meaning of these three terms. We're going to talk about hurricanes. The threat of a hurricane is outside one's control. However, knowing that a hurricane could strike can help business owners assess weak points and develop an action plan to minimize impact. In this scenario, a vulnerability would be not having a data recovery plan in place in the event that your physical assets are damaged as a result of the hurricane. The risk to your business would be the loss of information or a disruption in business as a result of not addressing your vulnerabilities. One more thing to cover here is the risk formula. What this formula illustrates is that if one aspect of risk, such as threat or vulnerability, can be brought down to a manageable level, the value of risk as a whole also gets reduced. But how do you reduce threat or vulnerability? You can't actually reduce threat as it is an outside factor, but you can get the threats applicable to your organization under control or manage them by ensuring that your team members are staying informed of current threats in cybersecurity so they can quickly identify new threats. You can and should perform regular threat assessments to determine the best approaches to protecting a system against a specific threat, along with assessing different types of threats. You can also conduct penetration testing by modeling real-world threats in order to discover vulnerabilities. Also, you can get your vulnerabilities under control too by one, developing a vulnerability management program, which includes constant vulnerability assessment and vulnerability remediation. You should make sure that vulnerabilities that are discovered are remediated. And you should ensure that security patches are applied as soon as they are available. That's it for our short lesson on these three important security concepts. We will discuss more about them in the following lessons, so see you there.